So, did we all go to Hobby Lobby and buy up a bunch of these acrylic inks on clearance? Pretty much everyone with access to Hobby Lobby went there, right? If you haven't been, I recommend you go. I do know that the stores are putting some of their paints on sale at different times. So if you go and yours are not on clearance, check back because they may be the following week. And I did not find these in the clearance aisle at Hobby Lobby. They were over in the section where they normally live, you know, where the fine art paint is. They have their own little display thing, and they were in their regular display rack. So check there. These are liquid acrylic inks from Daler Rowney. I bought up a whole bunch because they were regularly $6 on sale for $1.49. So I felt like almost obligated to buy them, and I did. And then I added them to my stash of other acrylic inks that I've accumulated and hardly ever use. So I've got these in both, you know, just their regular ink and some of their pearlescent liquid acrylic. And then I have some of their older pearlescent liquid acrylics that I've had for years. I've got some calligraphy ink. I've got Dr. P.H. Martin's iridescent calligraphy ink. I've got some Liquitex acrylic ink. And then I've got some of these Rupturing Artist Colors transparent acrylic things that I've had for like 10 years. And some of these are falling apart because, you know, they're supposed to have the little dropper nozzle thing. You know, like that. And on this one, the glass dropper thing fell off. It came unattached from the stopper, and it fell down into the bottle. And look at the little neck. You know, I can't turn it. I've been in there with my tweezers trying to grab it and then turn it and pull it out, and I can't. And I feel like I'm playing Operation, and I can't get the funny bone out without setting off the buzzer. So yeah, my solution is just pipettes, right? Okay, no biggie, it's just gonna have to stay there. So, okay, you've bought all these acrylic inks, and now you're wondering what the heck you do with them, right? I don't really know. Clearly, you can do calligraphy with them because it says so on the bottle, and some of them say you can airbrush with them because it says so on the bottle. You can paint with them. You can do whatever. I'm just pretending like they are watered down acrylic paint. Only, that, you know, it's like extra awesome because they don't lose their pigment, like what sometimes happens when you add water to acrylic paint. I guess you're really not supposed to do that, but we all do, right? So anyway, I've just been using them on stuff and super duper liking them because what I've been using them on mostly is this junk. I'm making a junk journal out of some of the brochures and things that I picked up at Creativation in Phoenix. So we were given lots of different flyers and things. Let me show you. You get this nice bag when you go. And it's full of stuff, and I kept all the stuff, and I got 2 stuffs because me and Jason both went. So you get a lot of postcards, flyers, sale notices, advertisements from different vendors. Some of them are like show specials, 25% off any order placed at the show. Excuse me. And then some are, this is an event happening, Pin It Canada, and there's, you know, just different kinds of stuff. And most of these are printed on super duper really cool paper. Slick, glossy brochure paper. Some of them are good, heavy stock, coated stock. Okay, one thing I did notice, I just want to say a word to the graphic designers who put these brochures together. You know, you're giving these out to some paper crafters and paper artists, not all, but some. So if you really want to get the most bang for your buck, don't forget your backside. because it's like, I mean, I know it costs more to print two-sided than it does one-sided, but it's like packaging, you know, and there are some companies who do well with making their packaging keepable. Tim Holtz does a really good job of that. Seven Gypsies does a great job of that. You print something on this backside that will make people want to keep it. Like, you could even do like a distressed vintage ledger page with lines. You know, and this particular kind of paper is difficult to write on because it's super glossy. But what is the one? Okay, Dremel. Dremel did a good job on theirs, even though they neglected that backside, because it is a matte coated paper. It's coated, but it's got a matte finish, so even just a ballpoint pen is most likely going to write just fine on this. And if you make it something that they can either write on, or even just a pretty pattern that can be torn up and reused in collage, then we're going to hold on to this. And even if it's just a one-time, you know, show special, visit our booth, I'm going to put this in a journal, and I'm going to be seeing it all the time, and I'm going to be constantly reminded of Dremel. Even though I'm not a wholesale buyer, I'm just a retail girl, but guess what? You're in my face every day, Dremel. So, of course, that is, if this was super duper keepable, and it would have been more so if you did the backside. So, you know, if you can, do your backsides and make these something that paper crafters and those of us who do junk journals and recycle crafting, which is still very popular, very trendy, you know, we're gonna really want to keep these. And, you know, there are some that were just printed on regular paper. Well, that's actually pretty good, but there was a couple in here. Okay, this one, you know, this is really thin, see-through, like cheap copy. No, sorry, I don't even know what that is, and I'm not interested because the paper offended me. And this is a good coated paper. It's lightweight, but it's got a good texture. So yeah, I mean, really, as long as recycling arts and crafts is a thing, make the most of it, and, you know, make your brochures and flyers something that people like me are going to want to keep and reuse because they're cool, and it'll be worth that extra expense because, like I said, you're going to be in my face all the time, every time I see your little flyer. Okay, so anyway, that's what these are. Just flyers, postcards, brochures, different weights, coatings, stocks, whatever. So I've got those, and then there's some little booklet things. This one is styletechcraft.com, and it was, you know, really nice heavyweight thing with their deals. I know I haven't really read it, so I don't know what it is. But I know two of these three people, so yeah, there we go. And then Deflecto. Okay, Deflecto, I have to say, and I don't know if this was like purely by accident or if your graphic design department did this on purpose, but your staples are awesome. And a lot of these brochures like this, let's see, this is the Creativation show directory that you get. Yeah, okay. Skinny staples that just kind of are flat, and, you know, these are easy to pry up for, you know, in my purpose, for my purposes here, that's kind of, you know, easy because that's what I did. But for giving out this brochure, you know, it's just, this is pretty standard. This is just kind of what you expect. Okay, look at Deflectos. They are, I don't even know what you call it, but it's like when you staple at home as opposed to these big industrial high volume staplers. You know, you get that rounded ends are tucked in nicely so that they don't catch on anything. A little bit harder to remove, but I mean, even the quality of the metal in these staples is just so much better than what you usually see. It's just like a thick stainless steel, I don't know what. And it may just be that, you know, Deflecto sent this off to the printer and said, hey, make a brochure. Or I don't know if they requested lovely staples or not. But I just really love your staples. So good on you, Deflecto. Plus, it looks very nice with the whole style of your brochure, which works well with your products. You know, it's not overdone. It's just, this is a good brochure. I like this. Okay, not that these others are not, but, you know, they all have their strengths and weaknesses. So what I did, I took the staples out of these that were stapled together, nested them like that, and then put this around it for the cover because it was just a little bit bigger. And then I've got these for my insides, and that is what I have going on here. Or I've got a start on it. And I just used my clearance rack liquid acrylics to paint on here. Just, you know, just paint, just randomly, whatever colors I wanted. Kind of started with whatever colors were on there and picked up some of those, and then just, you know, kind of went my own direction. This had browns and stuff on it, if I remember right. And not really bothering to, you know, do it neatly or put wax paper in between. If they get really wet, I would, but, you know, it's a junk journal. And some of them I think I'm just going to squish paint everywhere, and some of them I might do in a design. Like this one, I just took a brush and brushed some of the liquid acrylics on here. I didn't want to cover their faces because, like, I know these two. I don't know Lori McCullers, but I'm sure that we would be friends too. I just hated to paint over her face. It just didn't feel right to paint over the faces of people that I knew. So I may go in and paint a color in each one of these or something so that it's like a plaid. I don't know. But that's what I did there. I really don't have a plan. I'm totally making it up as I go. And then I'm just playing with the paints. Like this was a Macy's card. Glossy stock. Not super heavy, but, you know, decent postcard stock. And I was just testing to see how well the colors, how permanent they are. So I started with, I think, in fact, it was this turquoise. What is this? Turquoise blue on there. And just kind of let it roll around. You know, when you put this liquid acrylic on glossy stock and you brush it, sometimes you're going to get bubbles where it resists because of the coating. And, you know, that's just part and parcel. You can sand it a little if you want to. You can put some gesso on it if you want to. But I don't bother, because if I'm going to go through all that trouble, I'm just going to use good paper to begin with. So, yeah, I just lay it on there, see what it does, let it do what it does. So I put the blue on there, let it run around a little bit, dried it with my heat gun, and then I went back with this weird kind of tan, what is this? Flesh tint color, and put that all over the top of the blue, brushed it around, and my whole goal was just to see if, could I maybe have just a little more glare? Is that better? Maybe. Okay. Oh, now it's dark. Oh, here we go. Okay, that'll work. So yeah, I just wanted to see if the blue would lift and mix with the brown. It did not. Because, you know, had those two colors mixed, it would probably be just a really yucky, like puke green color. So once the liquid acrylic is down and it's dry, and I'm very impatient, so I almost always heat mine. I don't know if you have to heat set it. I think as long as you just let it dry thoroughly, it's permanent. And it will not lift back up when you put other colors on top of it, which makes it really cool for getting, you know, for using a variety of different colors. You don't have to worry about them muddying up. You know, the purple and the red, they just kind of sit on top of each other. And some of them are a little more transparent than others, so you might think you're muddying up, but what's happening is that you're seeing down through, so, you know, it looks like they're blending. So you have to kind of watch that. If some of your colors are more transparent, you might get an unattractive blending look, even though they're not actually blending together. So you can use lots of different colors. Just dry them, let them, you know, hit them with your heat gun between colors. And see this one for Pennant Canada, I just painted that red, and then I don't know where I'm going with that. And this is a good start on something, and I kind of like the design of this, so I just put some pink paint there, and then I'll do this one. The Dremel had some brown and blue going on, so I just covered it with brown, and then I think I'm going to do blue stripes or something. These are just unfortunate, really. Yeah, it doesn't always work. You know, I mean, it worked as far as the colors didn't muddy up. They're just bad colors together. So, you know, what's our solution for that? We have our good friend, wherever it is, white paint and some wax paper, and, you know, do the thing, problem solved. So, that is my plan for this. And to keep from rambling on for an hour here, I think I will end this here and then film another one with me showing you just, you know, how I'm slapping stuff on here and maybe attaching a few things. I don't know. But I just wanted to kind of touch base with everyone who ran out and bought all of these inks and are now wondering what to do with them. Because, you know, I mean, I'm not going to judge you for hoarding them, because, I mean, seriously, at least 10 years, probably more. I know exactly where I got it. Grapevine Rubber Stamp Convention, probably early 2000s-ish, early to mid 2000s. Can't remember the name of the booth, but I bought a couple rubber stamps there too. Oh, it's really great big, like, lion. I wonder if I still have that. I bet I do. Well, anyway, I digress. But let's at least, you know, break the seal on our new paints and justify our purchase somewhat. So if you have some of these, grab them. If you don't, check your Hobby Lobby store if you have one in driving distance, and then I'll come back in another video and we will see what exactly we can do with these and what they are like when you work with them. And of course, my question recently is, will it work on vinyl? The answer to that is yes. The pearlescents work beautifully on, this is black vinyl. They work beautifully on both dark and light vinyl. This one was white. And on the black vinyl, some of the non-pearlescent colors will also work as long as they're not too dark. And of course, they'll all work on light vinyl. And they don't come off. And since they're so thin, you don't have to worry about them getting thick like you do regular acrylic paint, which, you know, on a slick surface, it can peel off. This is not going to peel. You know, I mean, if I really tried, I could probably scratch it, but normal wear and tear, this is going to hold up. So I'm really excited about using this on vinyl. So we'll do some of that too. For now, that's it. The end.